Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Boxing Authorities. Joining me at the desk, as always, Luther Dupree Jr., Smoking Jim Frazier, and my name is Claudio Relsano, and thank you for tuning in. All right, guys, we have some great upcoming fights in the month of May. We're going to touch on some in June pretty soon as well. A lot of great fights coming up, which is great for boxing. A guy that Luther's been talking about, from two guys he's been talking about a lot, we're going to cover one right now, Boots Ennis. 28-0 against Custio Clayton, 19-0-1 with 12 knockouts, a world title eliminator. Luther, your thoughts on this fight?
Listen, man, Boots Ennis, I told you guys, Jim, I don't know why you don't remember. We covered him as an amateur. He was great back then. We knew he had superstar all over him. Mm-hmm. He's the goods. Anything you want in a boxer. He can fight conventional. He switches southpaw. He has speed. He has power. He comes in with great shorts, great story. He's coming from a boxing family. This guy's terrific. He's fighting an undefeated Custio Clayton. Should be a solid fight, but Boots Ennis is going to show out. It won't go past 4. This guy's terrific. Dynamite in both hands. He's a young Roy Jones Jr. If you saw Roy Jones, this is how he looked when he was younger.
With a chin. With a chin.
With a chin.
I think he's got a chin.
Listen, no. He's that good. I can go overboard because he has all the goods. He's not a guy I'm overselling. Because we saw him as an amateur, Jim, and he was the goods then. He's even better now.
Real quick, what is his hole?
I think sometimes he can do so much in the ring. He tries to do it all at once and can get caught.
Excellent.
We saw him get caught with a couple rights by guys who shouldn't get caught. When you're fighting guys that you're outclassing, that you can do it. But against a better fighter, a Bud Crawford, an Errol Spence, you don't want to do that. And I think he'll fight a different fight. But that's his only flaw. I mean, this guy does it all. He's always in the gym. He's the biggest welterweight. Yeah. He can go all the way up to 160. He has that type of size. I don't know how much longer he can make 147, but while he's here, everybody's going out. Everybody's getting KO'd.
Smoking Jim.
Well, I hope we don't underachieve like Curtis Ennis.
Dang. You and your football analogies, man.
But listen, what can you learn? This guy got almost 30 fights. He fighting somebody with about 15 fights. What are you going to learn?
19-0.
What are you going to learn, man? You know what I mean? They're moving the guy in the wrong direction. Again, these guys got all the talent in the world, but I remember when Sugar Ray Leonard was coming up. Sugar Ray Leonard was fighting guys that had a ton of fights, and he could learn. Even though he was going to beat those guys, he could learn something from them.
Like Wilfredo Benitez.
Yeah. What are you going to learn fighting a guy like this?
I'm exact opposite on you on this one, Jim. I think they're moving his career in a good path. He's not old. He's not a rookie. He's a smart guy. He's learning. 28 wins. I see what you're saying compared to today's fighters. It seems like they're getting title shots after 4 fights, right? But I like the career path now. As I always tell my team in baseball, now it's time to turn it up. He wins this fight, he gets a title shot, then I think he's going to dominate his division for a little while until he does move up. He's got the frame to get better.
He can go to 160.
Right. Now, I don't know him as well as you do, but from what I've seen, in baseball, they call it a 5-tool player. Here, he's got all the tools, and I'm with Luther, and that's a fantastic point, which I really haven't heard that before, so to your credit. He's got all these tools, and he's almost trying to use them all at once, okay? Where Jones was, he was good about it, and I think Ennis will as well.
Yeah, Roy Jones, I mean, athleticism was amazing. I mean, he would have hands behind his back, his cat-like reflexes. And Boots has that type.
Maybe Smoke Gainer.
From Pensacola.
147, I think he has more power than anybody. I think he's the best athlete. I think he's the biggest one, and he has every skill you could imagine. He's the real deal, Jim.
You don't think he's the real thing?
I like him. I just don't like how they're moving these young fighters, man. Again, we're not going to learn anything fighting
Jim,
this guy.
1 minute you're saying you don't like the guys to be rushed.
I've been on the same path.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know why you don't like it.
I'm not saying that.
This is a world title eliminator.
About rushing, see, I'm a manager trainer, and I'm looking at it. I like to fight
what your
a guy,
fighters ever do.
Like, say, for example, the guy,
in your head, you're a manager trainer.
The guy that ended up beating Spatafor. They know they were going to beat Spatafore in that fight because Spatafore was no longer the undefeated 45-0 fighter. So, but the guy gained a lot of experience because he was fighting a guy who had so much experience and that could do a lot. So you want to put your fighter in with somebody that got an awful lot of fights, but they're not a threat to beat your fighter.
I'm with you.
You know, you're fighting somebody here. This guy's basically an amateur, and he's fighting Boots. Boots got twice as many.
But
fights
Boots
as
didn't
this
make
guy.
him an eliminator. The
This guy,
Federation.
I think you're underselling Custio Clayton. I mean, he's undefeated. He's had some good victories. I mean, he's a solid
You seen
fighter.
him in the amateurs too?
I didn't see him in an amateur. I saw
Because he
him-
looked like he just came out.
I
of
saw
it.
him as a pro. Listen, this is
He
a
looked
world
like he
title
just
eliminator.
graduated.
After this, he's going to become a mandatory for Spence or Bud. I think this is perfect.
And what good is that going to do? They ain't going to fight him.
Hey,
You
listen,
mean?
listen. 'Cause
You
they're gonna-
know and I
they're-
know.
They're going to fight each other, and they're both going to move up. And who's left? Jerome. At some point, if they stay long enough, they're going to have to run into Boots Enos.
Are you
Maybe
confident?
not
'cause
147.
You've been losing
not
a
140.
lot of bets.
No, I have not.
Are you confident that Bud and Earl Spence are going to fight each other?
Yes, I'm fairly confident.
Oh, fair.
It's
Here's
gonna
why
happen.
I'm kind of leaning
Fairly.
towards Jim on that one.
Thank you.
Anymore. You know, you joked earlier, previous show about Alfredo Evangelista and Bugner and Wetner. But those were the guys who were number one contenders.
Right.
Albeit whether they should have been or not, or maybe not number one, but at least top 2, 3.
Right.
Nowadays, it seems like, I think that's why Fury's going to probably retire. He fought Dillian White, dominated him. He's used to that big hype fight, big money. Why the hell should he fight somebody who's not going to bring a lot to the table? My question
that
is...
was entertaining. Wasn't that a great setting?
Oh, without
for
question.
that was
But my
great.
point is anymore, is
Luther was
boxing
wrong
leaning,
on
is
that.
boxing
It
leaning
didn't say- You
towards...
see the pay-per-view numbers in the U.S.? Not
No, we
very
don't
good.
care about that. I'm talking
just
about,
saying.
I'm
It
talking
was a
about
great
the
venue.
Wasn't that a great venue? Wasn't that
was nice.
exciting?
It was a great
venue.
Like
It was a
that,
great
it was
venue.
back.
To
So
your
you were wrong on
point,
that.
to your
Well, I-
point,
I
what
didn't
you
say it
always
wasn't
say
gonna be a great
it's
venue.
bigger than the United States. You've always said that.
Yes.
But what I'm saying to you is this: is boxing leaning towards, except for Canelo, because he'll fight whoever is the lower end of the thing. but is boxing, like you said, Crawford and Spence? Yes, fight each other. But who is next? Or are they going to have to move up to make it more of an attractive, more money fight? They're not going to fight Ennis. I don't think they will.
Right, right, and they shouldn't. They're at the tail end. You're going to fight a young bull. No, they're going to fight each other, and they're both going to move
But
up.
is it all about money, or let me fight everybody, clear the division? Is what my question
Well,
is.
Spence is pretty much cleared division. If he beats Bud, he's cleared the division. Bud, if he beats Spence, he got all the belts. They're both going to move up. They may fight once here, once at 154,
Sound like
and
a
Jamel
guess.
and
Sound
Jamel
like a
Charlo.
guess.
Well,
Sound
so
like a
let me ask
guess.
you, Jim, like, for
No, but
example,
they're
the
gonna
heavyweight
fight.
division. We've talked about this before. Right now, the needle movers are Fury, Wilder still, AJ, and Usyk a little bit.
Usyk don't move the
He
needle.
doesn't move the needle, but at least he's a name. Who after that, like Otto Wallin, tough. But who are these guys going to fight? Are they just going to keep fighting each other? Just like I know you're a huge wrestling guy. Years ago, like Bruno fought everybody. Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, they fought everybody. Now, then there was a period, what do they call it? The Attitude Era, where it seemed like Stone Cold, Rock, and Chris Jericho just fought each other because the other ones didn't move the needle. I'm afraid that boxing is kind of going that
No,
way.
it's not.
This is
There's
the
just
best era heavyweight.
Oh, Jim, stop.
Are they going to move the
They
needle?
won't even remember these guys pretty soon.
You don't understand what I'm trying to tell you, Lou? Am I
Listen,
wrong?
No, you're not wrong. But I think there's enough young guys that it's still going to be
Well,
competitive.
Klitschko's never moved the needle, but they were great fighters.
But there wasn't anybody
Lennox
in that
Lewis didn't
division.
move.
Lennox Lewis did.
He fought everybody.
You look at the pay-per-view
Well, so
numbers,
did Klitschko.
He's up there with one of the top 10 pay-per-views.
Klitschko's fought
People
everybody.
were dying to see something.
Klitschko's fought everybody, but there wasn't anybody there.
that was a-
Oh, that
that
guy I
was a-
told you about was, I think, Juan Carlos Gomez, but I was wrong. He didn't
That
fight.
was the worst era
He didn't fight
heavyweight
Vlad. He
boxing,
fought
Klitschko
Vitaly,
era.
and Vitaly just threw lefts all day. The guy said Black Panther. He just threw lefts all
That
day.
was
So
the
throw it
worst
right.
era heavyweight boxing.
Yeah, but they
before
did
this
clean it
one.
out. They got
They cleaned out
but there was nobody there
a
to clean out.
C-level- a C-level
But my
heavyweight.
point is, what I'm worried about, Jim, again, is that okay, Crawford Spence is a huge fight. That's gonna be big. But then what's next?
What do you mean? What's next at 147? There's Boots Enos, Virgil
Oh,
Ortiz.
no.
those
But
guys-
is Crawford or Spence going to fight those guys?
No, they're going to move up. But that's what I'm saying.
They should.
The new guys are still, they're here. Boots Enos is still here. You know,
Will they
Victor
fight him?
Ortiz is still
Will they
here.
fight him?
No, they're going to move up. They're
Who's
gonna
gonna move up?
Both Spence and Bud, I believe, are both going to move up to 154.
All right.
After
And
they
fight big
twice.
names?
Jermell Charlo, 154. Everybody fights.
That'd be great if they
everybody.
did that. If they
Yeah,
agree.
they're going to fight the top guy. What's that, Jim?
Heavyweights.
Oh, okay. Jim. Come on.
Well, like I said, again, you've been talking about here from day one, and you
Jim's
got me as a
Jim's
believer.
still not hating. He's still
Because he was
hating.
looking at the women. He wasn't
Right.
looking at the fight. Okay, another fight, May 21st. Again, Luther's been talking about this guy from a long
beast.
time, and I like him. I've talked more about David Lemieux, and let me start by saying if this fight was maybe 7 years ago,
wouldn't
Lemieux
matter.
would be tough, because Lemieux could hit. Okay, Lemieux could hit. I still think it's going to be, obviously, Benavidez got the rocket going up, Lemieux's going down. Can Lemieux catch him? Yeah, he's got a puncher's chance, but I don't think it's going to be as close of a fight as it would have been years ago.
We look at David Lemieux. You know, he's going to come in there. He has some power.
I liked him.
Yeah, you liked him. I didn't see much, but it's the one first-round KO against John Luis Reyes. You know, goes to the body, good power. You know, kind of stiff.
Short,
to me.
quick. I don't know. I say short, quick with power. He wasn't long.
Yeah, I mean, you know, real aggressive, but he's going to be in with a monster.
Yeah.
I mean, you see some of these highlights. These guys really aren't bringing nothing back. They're punching bags. You know, as
Look at
Jim
that
calls
ref.
them, he's ready to stop it immediately. Because look at this guy's not bringing anything back. He's not going to be in with this type of fighter.
No.
He's going to be in with the beast. A guy said who's going to rule 168 if he can stay at that weight. David Benavidez was the youngest champion at one time. Power in both hands. Great size. I mean, he's the biggest 168. He really could be
He
a
can go
heavyweight.
higher, yeah.
Look at this guy, man. You know,
Them guys aren't fighting back much either. Let's be
Well,
honest.
who would fight against a big beast? Look at this guy. You
And his
take
hands
that
aren't
punch.
as slow as Jim
I don't
makes
know
it
what
out to
Jim's
be.
talking about. These guys, this is Darrell, a former world
Yeah,
champion, catching it from David Benavidez. Look at an uppercut.
Different
Boom.
punches.
Has he ever been in the weight room?
Hey, listen, love, destroy. Look at the body shot. Nobody can take that. Look at that. That guy's, oh, gosh. He is a beast. This is why referees had to save. I'm glad they saved Darrell's life on that one. He was taking a real bad beating.
That guy was
Look at
waving
that.
to somebody. I don't think he worried about the
Look
fight.
at that, Jim. Where's this? I see speed. I see quick hands.
Look at his
that.
head. You see
Look
his
at
head
the
go back. He's quick.
Look at this, man. I mean, boom, to the body, he loads up. Look at that, 6 punches. Just like, oh my gosh, Jim. He's one of the
His
best.
first name George.
Ooh, all I know, he lands clean, he's accurate, and he's very accurate.
Before we
it's
go into
very powerful.
predictions,
Very
Jim,
slow.
your thoughts on Benavidez
Look at
Lemieux?
Benavidez. Look at this, Jim.
And who would have a better shot, David Lemieux or Mario Lemieux?
Well,
Being
again,
from Pittsburgh, we gotta mention him.
Here's the difference from poor management of black fighters to very good management of David Benavidez. He's
They're
got
the same
25
manager,
wins. He's
Al Heyman.
25-0, but he's fighting a guy that got 47 fights and 36 knockouts. Lemieux can't beat him, but he can learn something from Lemieux. You know what I mean? Boots Ennis can't learn anything from Clayton. So that's the difference. You're not managing these black fighters. You guys are managing your black fighters, Lou, properly.
Aren't they both with Al Heyman?
Pardon me?
I don't want my
But
guy
it's
learning
already
anything. I want him to win and get the
Exactly.
hell out and move
But
on.
like I said, this
He's fighting an
Listen,
undefeated
you
fighter.
learn-
you're
He's
learning-
fighting an undefeated fighter with
and
20
you
and
learn
fights.
in
and
sparring.
if Benavidez wins against Lemieux, now he puts himself in position of earning the right to fight a Canelo.
No,
This
First
is
of all,
how you
that's
earn
all
it.
fake.
This is how you
you're not
earn it.
fighting a David Lemieux.
You can't earn it by fighting Clayton and these guys.
Listen,
I'm just
listen,
saying. For
he's
example.
already the WBC mandatory right now. This is not going to move him any higher.
No, but this is how you earn the weight
Jim,
in public.
Jim,
It's a nice
please.
name,
With the
a
post-
nice
It's a good
buck.
name on your resume.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
You earned the right to fight Canelo with it went like
so
this.
so who did Rocky Fielding earn to fight Canelo or Yildra after he lost?
That's the
to-
Alfredo
Come on,
Evangelista
What are you
comparison.
talking about?
There you go. Now, prediction for this fight.
Oh, David Benavidez. Nobody's going to last at 168 more than 7 rounds. 7 rounds, he's getting Lemieux out of there. Lemieux's a sitting duck for him. I feel bad for him.
Smoking Jim?
Had the
Well,
stretcher
Slow
close.
Benavidez,
Benavidez.
he's 6'2". He's gonna win the fight. Like you said, he's fighting Lemieux on the other way. This is a Canadian during hockey playoff season. He's losing
been
his
distracted
focus.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
he's losing
Oh,
his focus.
I have Benavidez as well. probably a late round stoppage, but I'm telling you, I think Lemieux's going to he's going to get some applause. He's going to get some respect. I think he's going to do well. And at the end of the fight, Benavidez is going to say that Lemieux. See, I get specific. I just don't say he's going to win the fight. He's going to say he gave me more of a run than I expected. He's going to win, but I think Lemieux's going to have a good showing in his day. I was very impressed with Lemieux. He could hit, and I don't know what kind of chin he had, but I think now his time is done.
His 10 will get chested, and it'll be done by the 7th round.
Like I said, I've always been a fan of his, but I think Benavidez wins late round stoppage. Tank Day, this is a fight I'm really looking for. Not just the fight. I'm looking forward to the press conference because Rolly can bring it. Tank Davis, 26-0 with 24 knockouts, who's fighting Romero, he's also fighting Mayweather, it seems like, against Rolly Romero, who's 14-0 with 12 knockouts for the WBA regular lightweight. And I'm going to make it, again, we're going to have a segment, Upset Luther. Luther, I just think this is too early for Romero.
Come on, man. Listen, Rolly has a belt. He had a belt. You know, whether he run it legitimately, I don't know. But Tank Davis is the real deal.
Yeah,
he can beat anybody there. Rolly has been calling for this fight for a while. He's wearing a fur coat in the middle of a L.A. weather, but he talks a big game, and he brings a big punch. Every punch is thrown with bad intentions, but he's going to get caught with something very vicious by Tank Davis. Tank Davis is...
Let me stop you. If Romero was more seasoned, would he get caught with that punch?
Yes. His style is very sloppy. He's awkward. I think he needs to go back to the basics. Rolly, he's all power shots. He's off balance a lot of times.
But could that be difficult, though?
It could be different. It's awkward because he punches from any angle.
Right.
You know, but I think Tank is too skilled. See, we haven't seen the best of Tank.
No, we haven't.
Last fight when he broke his hand, people said, "Oh, he can box too." So he's not just a power puncher. He can punch. He can fight on the back foot, and I think he's going to do it all. And I think Rolly will make it entertaining, but that knockout is going to be classic. I'm looking for knockout of the year. Rolly's going to be flying all over the ring because Tank Davis is mad. He's mad with Mayweather. He's mad at Rolly. He wants the big fights, and now he's going to prove he's the biggest star in boxing after this knockout. And go for those big names.
What round?
Man, Rolly's a tough guy. I think he could take some punishment. It looks like he's taken a couple L's before. He could take some punches. Late round, maybe 10th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smoking?
Well, another poorly managed black. Here's a guy, Tank, got 26 wins.
He's one of the biggest names in boxing.
He got 26 wins. What's he going to learn against a guy with 14 wins?
He's past that, Jim.
He's past his peak. He's going down on the other side.
Tank?
Jim, what are you watching, Jim?
I've been saying that all along.
What were you smoking before this show, Jim?
Tank has already peaked. He's going down on the other side. When he starts fighting some seasoned fighters, they're going to expose this guy.
Expose him how?
Listen, the worst thing he could do was leaving Floyd Money Mayweather, who was
it hasn't happened yet.
Gloves.
We don't know.
Now he's going to get exposed. This guy's going back into that thug life. You know what I mean? He's threatening people and everything. You know how bad it is in Baltimore and D.C. And he's right back into that life. And I tell you what,
Jim.
he's going to, listen, Romero, all he does is keep his chin up.
Just call him Rolly.
Rolly, or all he do is keep his chin up. True. I mean, he's going to get knocked out. He's tailor-made for Tank. But there's so many people that can whoop Tank, including Ryan Garcia and some of these other guys.
Wow,
and
Jim.
He's going to.
So many people could whoop Tank?
Yeah, well, number one, this would be his last fight at 135. Look at the size of his head. He got the size of. He's going to be light heavyweight before it's all said and done. You can't have a head that size, Lou, and don't put the body weight on.
You got a real thing with hair and head size.
Well,
and all that.
that's how you got to look at it. You look at the wrist and you look at the head. If he got a 10-gallon head, he's going to be 175 pounds.
He'll thicken out. He'll thicken out.
Yeah, he'll thicken out. He's thick now.
But this fight, you think he's going to do what?
Yeah, he'll knock this. He'll knock this guy.
Is it too soon for Rolly to fight this fight?
Yeah, way too soon.
I agree.
And plus, I mean, the guy talks
Marinating fights.
The guy talks
You
like he
old
never been to
dinosaurs
school
with a marinate the
before.
fights, huh?
I mean,
Well, if you were his management team, other than making a quick buck,
They're
you
both
would-
with Mayweather. They're trying to make an in-house fight. Both
And
of these
you-
guys. Both of these guys are with Mayweather Promotions.
But somebody's with
Rolly
Rolly
and
saying,
Tank.
Rolly, it's not the time. Let's build this up a little bit more.
This is a big payday. This is prize fighting. You're out for the belt. You fight a Tank.
They
you
both
look
got
good.
garbage
Just like,
mouths.
listen, Pitbull lost the Tank. What happened? His star rose. So if you lose,
He's
and
still
fight
young.
good,
Yes, yes.
your star could rise.
Yeah.
He's in line
Yeah,
for
he
a
may
Ryan
win.
Garcia
He may
fight.
take
So
run.
what are you guys
He
talking
may
about?
take run, yeah.
If
With a
he
broken
loses,
hand.
it's not the end of the world.
Right,
You're
exactly.
right there.
You lost to
So
the
you
top
say.
dog.
You're right.
if
And
you look
he will be
decent-
better.
Right.
You're right. He's going to be better after this fight.
Exactly.
I'm with you.
So you may take a loss,
Well,
but you,
Pitbull was polished. You telling me
Good
this
whole
boy's polished?
Good word. That's
No,
my
but I'm
whole
saying,
point.
If you
Good
look,
word,
if you have
Jim.
a nice showing, you can still be in line. Pitbull lost to a guy with
Write
one
that
arm.
on your notebook that's falling apart. Are you happy that that notebook's falling apart? But
wanna
polished is
throw
a
that
good
thing in
word.
the trash.
That's what I mean. That's the trash. That's what I'm worried. That's what I'm trying to word. He's not polished enough to fight Tank yet.
I agree. He's
Was
not
Delana
polished
polished?
enough. But
Oh,
listen,
you know, he was Polish.
listen,
He was Polish.
Listen, Rolly has started late. You know what I mean? He started late. He's not polished. But yeah, but this is a great fight for him. He has a chance. He's fighting the top guy. You look good. You still have a chance. He's young enough. You take a loss. You learn something, and you could come back.
And
You
no sport.
flip-flop. You use a
What?
Mr. Butterworth.
What I said?
And
Listen,
Dr.
I
Spin.
never said I like fights getting marinated. Hey, they're both with the same promotion. They're both in the top 5.
Yeah, you're
Make the
Emmanuel
fight.
Stewart. That's why Caveman Lee is out there picking up
Caveman
garbage
Lee.
right now.
Again, I
Tank the
repeat,
real
you're
deal.
right. I think there was a little more polishing to do with Romero.
Make
I
the
think this
fight.
is too soon. But again, I'm not riding the fence. But like Lou said, after this fight, when he loses, he will be elevated. He will grow. He will get better. And his next fight, he's going to say, damn, this guy isn't as good as Tank. And I think his star is going to rise. And I think he's going to really let people know who he is because he does like to talk. But, okay, when we come back, we are going to, an email was sent to us. I'd like you guys to say who's overrated and underrated in today's boxing and in history. So that'll be a fun thing to do. So when we come back from with the boxing authorities. Welcome back to the Boxing Authorities. And before we go on, upcoming guest in June, the legendary Jerry Cooney is going to come on, and we will tell you the exact time he'll be on. But we're really excited about having Jerry on. He's a great guy.
For sure.
Yeah, so we're excited about that. Okay, we received an email, guys, and there's our Twitter, at Boxing Auto TV. So definitely follow us and check us out. We were asked to list some guys who are overrated and underrated. And we're going to do this a few times. Okay, I just threw some names together here from current boxers and great boxers of the past. So we're going to start off, Mr. Dupree. Tyson Fury, overrated, underrated. I think you already answered that.
Very overrated. He's the best of this generation. But people are out here comparing him to Ali and Rocky.
I don't wanna hear about
and
Ali.
Foreman.
I don't wanna
No,
hear about that.
they all destroy Tyson Fury. He's eating off of a weaker heavyweight era. So
mean, good
very
for him.
overrated. Good
But-
for
but
him.
I'm
He's
with
made
you.
a lot of money, but he's not on that level.
Smoking.
Greatest of all time, heavyweight.
He the king of the overrated.
Heavily.
He's
heavily-
overrated.
Heavily underrated.
All right, I say overrated as well. Smoking Jim Frazier, overrated or underrated?
Very overrated.
Canelo, overrated,
Oh, God.
underrated.
Here
Here
we
he
go
goes.
through this. Very overrated, very good fighter. But again, they put him up there with the Mayweathers and all. Very, very overrated. Good fighter, not elite.
I'm going to say
Slow feet.
overrated, very overrated. Good fighter again, Hall of Famer, overrated. Jim?
One of the top 5 pound for pound ever put on the gloves. Heavily underrated.
Chill.
How can he be underrated when everybody they're throwing money at him by the bushels?
Exactly.
And
He
He
crashed
earned it.
HBO, the Zone, all these guys
He earned
backed
it.
him. And
how did they all earn it? But how did he earn it to be on your level that you say he's at?
he can't explain it.
Alexis Aguayo.
But he didn't fight Alexis
can't-
Aguayo.
He can't
Seven.
explain it.
Who did he fight? Then you said, "Damn!" Like I said, and you guys know, I was never. I don't want to say I wasn't crazy about Wilder. I didn't think he was up here.
And
Am
he's
I right?
not, and he's
Wait a minute.
not.
But what did I say? Again, I repeat. After he
In that
lost
loss, you finally
to
gave him
Fury,
credit.
but I said
Jim still
him
didn't
and
give him credit.
Fury separated themselves. From this era?
Right.
What separates Canelo from everybody today, in your opinion?
Wilder ain't won a fight in 4 years, but you guys, and he's
Answer the
retired.
question.
And you guys are still saying he separated himself.
It'll be a year in July. But what has Canelo done? No, October.
Right, it
not
was
fall.
October, yeah.
What has Canelo done to separate himself from everybody to you?
Alexis Oguay.
I'm talking about
Jim, come on, man. Answer
That's
the
all I can
question.
say.
You're giving us
no matter
another
what I can
fighter.
say,
Just give
people
him
he-
No matter what I
you
can
didn't
say,
think
you guys,
another name.
you
You
guys
didn't
won't
think-
give him credit because he got red hair.
You didn't think Plant was any good, so he beat Plant. So big deal. He beat Triple G,
Billy
Saunders.
Joe,
Yeah, no big. So what did he do? Like I'm saying, now
He beat Triple G when everybody was scared of Triple G.
I had him losing
Okay.
the first fight.
right? Okay, he won the second. Okay, fine. What else?
I got a neighbor.
What's that?
I got a neighbor that adopted a redhead kid,
all right,
and they
let's
work
move-
him
all
like
right,
a slave.
Jermell Charlo, underrated, overrated.
Very underrated. You know, you look at these Ring Magazine and ESPN, they don't have him in the top 10 pound for pound. 154 is the most competitive division. He's the best. He's very underrated. I think after this one, he should get a little more recognition.
154
His resume
was
is great.
competitive.
Oh, yeah, they all fight each other. We can't say anybody's ducking anybody.
Oh, I thought you.
That's what I'm saying.
I thought you were talking about talent-wise.
I mean, they're talented guys,
yeah.
but they're all fighting each other. We can't say somebody's not fighting this guy. They are all fighting each other, and I love it. The most exciting because they're all fighting each other.
Which one is
Underrated.
which? Which one is
Jermell.
which?
He's the lighter one. He's the one fighting
That's
this
the lighter
weekend
one,
against
okay.
Castano.
You know, when you said that about the experts not ranking him up there, right away I'm thinking of I'm thinking about in hockey, Sidney Crosby, who's obviously one of the greatest of all time. They said, even I think how old is
He
he?
ain't as good as
34?
Ovechkin.
Hey, he has more of an all-around game. And what the hell do you know about
Hey,
Ovechkin?
He got 200 more goals than Crosby.
Who got more? Who has more championships?
Right.
Oh,
Who's
here
more
we
than
go.
one? I'm just saying.
Here we
I'm
go.
just
Bill
saying.
Russell got more championships. And ain't nobody
all
saying
right,
he's
let's
the
get
greatest.
back
But my
Jermell.
point is, to your point, is they said that he was ranked 19th as far as playoff players. These are experts. Now, I only watch Penguins during the playoffs, which I'm enjoying, but I know he's not the 19th best hockey player.
He's the best in the playoffs.
Yeah, he might damn well be. But that's my point to you. But Charlo, he's not in
That's
the
disgusting.
rankings. This is
Very.
all you do is watch boxing. You should know. You should be better than that. Not Luther. I'm talking about the
Right.
people.
A lot of bias against the Charlos. They hate the orange hair, as Jim says.
Right, right. Don't get him started with that. Jermell Charlo, overrated, underrated. I say he's underrated.
Another poorly managed black, overrated.
Overrated.
Extremely overrated.
Who overrates him?
Huh?
Who overrates him? He's not in
You
the top
are
10.
overrating right now.
No, I'm saying
You
where he
do,
needs
right,
to be.
right.
He has
Anytime you
he has
mention his
3
name.
belts, and he could be undisputed this weekend, and they don't have him in the top 10.
Middleweight and welterweight is where the money. These junior belts, you got a junior belt. Either move up or move down. Don't nobody care about
What I like
134.
about him is after the loss to Harrison, how he just focused and he was serious and he beat Harrison, and that's why I think he's going to do this
I
next
thought
fight.
he beat for Harrison the first fight. I mean, Harrison
well,
ain't no good.
It was close. Harrison's a
Harrison
classic.
did a nice
He's a
job.
classic boxer.
He ain't no good.
Tony Harrison, a classic boxer from Detroit.
Classic talker
Come
too.
on, man.
Jamal Charlo, overrated, underrated.
I think he's a little overrated because, you know, he hasn't done enough. He gets a lot of hype, but his resume is very weak. You know, he has to fight some better. Even Selecki, who he's fighting,
I was
doesn't
surprised
move
at
the
that.
needle.
Were you surprised at that
I
fight?
was, but then again, he did try to fight Jamie Munguia, and Oscar killed that fight. So I say he's a little overrated. I need him to do more.
I'm with you. I think he's overrated. For me, I want to see who you fought and how you did against them. And then if you do lose, like his brother, how you came back. So I respect all of them. I just think that for me, Jermell jumped up a few pegs, but I think Jamal's overrated. Smoking?
Another poorly.
Oh, Jim, come on, answer the question.
Hey, listen, extremely overrated. Like I said,
Who overrates
the
him?
guy couldn't put a sentence together if you paid him $10 million.
You don't even know which twin is which. You don't know which twin is which.
And I tell you what, the only thing I want to see is them
fight each other.
That'll never happen. Brothers will never fight.
Why?
These might.
No.
I know that.
No, they're super close.
Ryan Garcia.
Very overrated. The pull-out king. He calls himself King Ryan. He's a pull-out king. He pulls out of every fight. He just got mandated to fight Pitbull. Look for him to pull out of that Pitbull fight. Overrated. I
Just
see
say
him,
duck.
I see him on a Gatorade.
Just say duck.
I see him on a Gatorade commercial.
I know.
I'm like, get this guy there. How he the one boxer that got a
9 million followers?
Yeah. How is he the one boxer that got a contract with Gatorade? This guy don't fight.
No.
Overrated.
I'm with you, overrated. I think he has a chance to do some things. I think he has it physically. But and I'm, you know me, I'm into making money outside of your profession or promoting yourself. Love that. But in order for you to do that, you have to do well at your respected profession. If it's baseball, basketball, football. Michael Jordan, king. But he didn't do bad on the basketball court. You see what I'm saying? What's Ryan Garcia done to earn all this? And good for him. I wish him well. But I think he's got to turn it up a little bit more in the ring and really focus. If he focuses and dominates his sport, I think he's even going to be bigger, big time. But right now, overrated.
Most talented guy in the game today, extremely underrated.
I think sometimes he just
Just say
goes,
stuff. The shock.
But
JMZ
he's the
is
best,
back.
though. He's the
JMZ.
best. Tank Davis, underrated, overrated.
Underrated. Listen, people talk about, oh, he hasn't fought this guy. Listen, he wanted to get those big fights. All he does, and I think his resume, Pitbull Cruz. He's a top fighter. Leo Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
He's good. He went up and fought a Mario Barnes, knocked him out. Keith Thurman, a former 3-belt holder, couldn't do it.
That's right.
I think he's very underrated. Tank Davis, I think in the next few fights, he'll finally get the recognition when he gets a Devin Haney or Kambosos or Shakur Stevenson, who's talking, or Lomachenko. I think we will see Tank Davis is the real deal over these next few years.
Great point. I think it's going to be make or, I don't want to say make or break, but when if he fights those guys and beats them, like I don't think Shakur Stevens is going to lose. But Lomachenko's no picnic still. No. I mean, these are going to be great fights. And if he walks through those guys, if he beats those guys, wow. Let me ask you this real quick before I go to Jim. Do you think he'd be better off if he stays with Mayweather or leaves?
I think he's going to be fine either way. I'd like him to stay with Mayweather and just get these big fights. I mean, Mayweather brought him from Baltimore. I'd like him to stay. Jim, unlike you, I answer the questions. We still ain't get an answer for Canelo. But I think I'd like him to stay and just get these big fights. Mayweather, if I stay, I want this fight. I want this fight. I want no more in-house fights.
Right.
I want to fight the best there is.
That's my point. Get out of that in-house. Luther, I'm going to agree with you again. There's a guy, a friend of ours, Kelly Russell, who's on our other show, Still City Sports World. Me and Kelly seem to always agree. So far, Luther and I are on the same page. Underrated Tank Davis. And if he does, Luther mentioned some names, if he beats those guys, wow, that's big time.
You mean Kelly Davis will quit us?
Kelly Russell was his name.
Kelly Davis.
Kelly, you didn't
wait a
give him
minute.
another name.
Aguelo, Canelo. He's starting now.
Jim,
Kelly's a friend. He's butchering.
That's CTE.
Whoa,
Jim,
that's scaring me.
Jim took a lot
Let's
of
go
those
to
punches.
a commercial. No, I'm good. Go ahead, Jim. Is he underrated or overrated? Tank Davis.
Tank Davis. Maybe O.J. Simpson had the bigger head than him. Maybe O.J. had to get a special helmet
Yes, he
made.
did. That's right.
Hey, listen. Tank Davis, in 2 years, nobody will even know that he was even a boxer. He's going downhill fast.
Oh,
Never
my
should have
God.
left Floyd Mayweather.
He didn't leave him
He
yet.
didn't leave him yet, and I don't know if he will.
Well, first of all, if he don't leave Floyd, Floyd's going to get rid of him because this guy is just his work ethic and everything is just going the wrong way. He's already peaked. He's going on the other side of the mountain. Very, very
He's still young.
overrated. Very, very short. I mean, T-Rex.
Now you're on a short arm.
T-Rex.
Hey, a lot
Jim.
of
That's good.
power in them arms.
That is good,
A
yeah.
lot of power in them arms.
Okay, Boots Ennis.
You know, I always think he's great. He's very underrated. People keep trying to say, oh, 28-0, who has he fought? These guys are ducking him. He's number one for Bud's belt, for Spence's belt. Victor Ortiz said maybe in 2 years. Very
Yeah,
underrated.
2 years.
Boots Ennis is the goods. everybody will be talking about him like they talked about Roy Jones Jr.
What's his
in a
first
couple
name?
years. Jerron Boots Enos out of Philly. Jim, we covered him as an amateur. He's the real deal, man.
I quickly underrated. Go ahead, Jim.
Well, he's yet to fight anybody outside of Reading, PA.
Well,
and
which
Harrisburg.
when he does, then people are gonna know who he is. But when you find out who he is, he's gonna be big time.
Well, I thought Curtis Enos was going to be big time too.
God.
For right now, he's overrated. For right now.
Overrated. Why is he
Right now.
overrated? Why is he overrated?
Can I have my opinion?
I just said why.
Because he's fighting guys who's basically still amateur. He's not learning. He's not growing. Their opponents when
That's ridiculous.
well, in my opinion, right now he's overrated.
David Benavidez. Before we go break.
Underrated. David Benavidez. Yes, his resume is not great, but I think he's underrated. People were saying Canelo would wash him and do this. I
he's
want to
saying
see
it
it. There's a reason that Canelo's going around saying, I'm not fighting no more Mexicans. Because of that man right there, the beast, David Benavidez, power in both hands, and he's faster than you think, Jim. He's a beast.
He's been calling out the big names. I agree with you, Luther. Again, underrated. I think once he gets that belt, fights that signature fight, I think he's going to go through the roof for quite a few years.
Well, the Charlo's been running from him. He's been calling them out. They've been running like roaches in the
Everybody's
corner.
running from him.
Not everybody, but
Who's not? Except
listen,
Hugo Andrade. He's the one who said he'd fight him.
This guy's very overrated. He's too slow. He's 6'2". You know, look like he never did a push-up in his life, never been in a weight
He's knocking
room.
people out.
Well, he's knocking the people that he's been fighting out.
Former world champion and
Who? Who's he
Anthony Durrell. Former world champion
Yeah,
Anthony
he fighting
Durrell.
Lemieux too, right?
Well, now some legendary fighters, and these guys are all legends in their own rights, and it's going to hurt me to say a few of these guys. But Riddick Bowe, underrated, overrated?
Riddick Bowe, I think he gets about what he needs to. I mean, he's a guy, talent-wise, he should have gone down as one of the greats, I think. But something was missing. I'm going to say overrated.
I'm going to say underrated. Physically, he had it all. He had two bad outings, I guess, against Galata. But to do what he did against Hallfield, but that was a good showing. I just thought he had it physically, and I don't hear his name talked about. I think the signature fight obviously was Evander, but I think he should have fought Lennox.
Dropping that belt to avoid Lennox
Yeah,
Lewis
that was bad.
kind of tarnished his image. That's why I give him an overrated. You
still
can't
gonna go
drop a
under.
belt and not fight Lennox.
I get it. Smoking?
Only thing was missing was intestinal fortitude. Overrated.
Evander Holyfield, former light heavyweight champ, dominated, cleaned the division out. Then he went to the heavyweights and became an icon, in my opinion. Overrated, underrated.
I think he's underrated. When people talk about the great heavyweights, there's sometimes they don't have Evander on there.
Yeah.
And I think that's wrong. He beat Mike Tyson. He got a draw with Lennox Lewis. Foreman's on his record. I mean, this guy
we got
fought
a total on
everyone.
the kid.
I got him. Oh, gosh. I got him as underrated. And he got a sons playing in NFL, boxing, baseball, every sport you could imagine. He got a kid in that.
We got enough of them.
Yeah, he's bound to have something somewhere. I'm going to say underrated. He is definitely, he's in my top, 6 or 7. I mean, the thing I liked about him was his heart, and he was serious.
Yeah.
When you hit him,
He fought with a
again,
hole in his heart.
until Benny Him threw a jacket at him and healed him. But for me, underrated. He's
Close
one of
that hole up.
the, and the size difference, and he fought the big men, he fought the guys his size, he fought punchers, boxers, he fought them all. Underrated.
I love me some Evander Holyfield. If he fought today, he wouldn't be in my top 50. Overrated.
Ooh.
That's ridiculous. Smoking Smoking Joe Frazier. I'm so damn used to saying Smoking Joe. Smoking Joe Frazier, Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Well, our Jim stole his nickname and tarnished it at times when we talk about boxing with his crazy takes. But I think Smoking Joe, the original Smoking Joe, is very underrated. Great left hook, fought everybody. George Foreman punished him, but George Foreman did that to a lot of people. Underrated. I think he'd be a champ right now with these big giants out there. That left hook would have taken out a Tyson Fury, a Wilder. Underrated. I don't think he gets enough credit to me.
Great, unbelievable heart, icon in the business and the sport. Unfortunately, he's known for his losses to Muhammad Ali and to George Foreman.
Yeah.
I hate to say it about Joe Frazier, 'cause I love him, but I think he was overrated because they put him up again. They just, Joe Frazier, great fighter,
He lost to two Hall of
took a
Famers.
lot out of Muhammad, and Muhammad took a lot out of him. Frazier, as I said, my mom was afraid he was going to get killed against Foreman because he was punching him, but he kept getting up. Heart as big as the world, overrated.
Ooh, that hurts.
Well,
Jim, you can't go
Joe
under.
Frazier had a face only a mama could love.
Right.
But one of the greatest fighters I ever seen, highly, highly, highly underrated.
Okay.
You
Smokey
knew that
Joe
was coming
Frazier.
because he stole his nickname.
Highly
You
underrated.
knew that was coming.
A guy that I don't hear you say a lot of great things about, Larry Holmes.
Great fighter, very overrated. He fought in an era I wasn't impressed with. Beat an old over the hill Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
He came in a bad era after Muhammad Ali and before Tyson. I say overrated. Great fighter, great jab, and he'd be a champ now. But
Oh, yeah.
I think he's overrated a little bit.
Jerry Cooney will say that Larry was top 5 heavyweights of all time. I don't know if I go that high. I liked his. Like, I'm not a big hockey fan. I have more respect now for guys like Lemieux now than I did when he played, which I respected him then, but I didn't enjoy the sport as much as I do now. I didn't enjoy Larry Holmes as much back then as I do now. I'm going to say he's underrated. Okay, talent, one of the best jabs ever, and he was a serious boxer. He was a businessman. For me, he was underrated. Smoking Jim.
Well, he dropped out of school in 7th grade.
here we
He
go with
probably
the
should have
education.
dropped out in 5th grade. He's a black Jeff Bodine. But he was great off the field business-wise.
Yeah,
he
yeah,
did
yeah.
great things with his money. Highly, highly overrated.
All right. Ken Norton.
Norton, Hall of Famer, got a lot out of his victory. Man, look at that. One of the greatest bodies ever
Yes, sir.
in boxing. I'd say a little overrated. He got a lot out of the Muhammad Ali victory. But Hall of Fame fighter, but a little overrated.
I think, and I loved Ken Norton. Everybody knows me back then. I loved Ken Norton. But very much overrated. He's known for his losses. Even though, he beat Muhammad the one time, everybody thinks he beat him twice. His losses to Muhammad and his to Foreman, quick fights, and Jerry Cooney, where he just was getting, pounded, overrated.
I'm petitioning to get him out of the Hall of Fame. That's a shame. But
And I love Ken Norton. I love him.
Extremely overrated.
All right. Well, we have more coming up on that segment. Now, our popular segment, the mailbag. I'm being like Jim here, Lou. Okay, continue to send your great emails, right? Questions, comments to boxingmailbag@yahoo.com. Send them to my website as well. Thank you so much for all your comments. Big Puncher from Ontario, he writes us all the time. I know you guys answered this before, but if you could, thoughts on round-by-round scoring live, like it or not?
I would love it. This Canelo fight was a travesty. There's no way that fight was that close. If we could have saw them scoring round by round, no way Canelo won those first 4 rounds on everybody's card. All the judges had it the same. No, I'd love to see it.
I say hell no, because you're going to get riots and people screaming, cornermen arguing. What are you talking about?
Sounds exciting
We're
to me.
losing. We're winning the fight. And you're giving it to him. It's
Hey,
not good.
that would
It's
add
not
some
good.
excitement,
This way
wouldn't
the
it?
judges can do it and get the hell out. Yeah.
I agree with Claudio.
It would just be, it would not be
It
good.
would stop all this corruption because you could see when somebody's getting robbed live.
Yeah.
Them cards,
You know what? We'll end it there. Big Puncher has a bunch of questions for us. We appreciate
Puncher, I
you.
like that
Yeah,
name.
yeah. As always, we hope you enjoy our show as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Boxing Authorities.